Wow, can you believe it? It's been nearly 3 years since I released my video on BigIdeaFun.com. It's a special video to me, for a few reasons. My senior year of college was brutal. It started not long after a traumatic moment in my life, and I was still trying to move on from that. My university years were coming to an end, and I was scared. And as for my YouTube channel, I still wasn't sure what to do with it. I liked making my comedic skit videos, but they took a lot of time, and unfortunately, the algorithm wasn't very kind to them. So, for a while, I decided to take a shot at commentary-style videos where I shared my thoughts on various forms of media. You know, like a lot of YouTubers do these days. And to my absolute delight, my first one was a hit! This nostalgia-filled trip to a childhood favorite website seems to have resonated with a lot of you, and it helped grow my channel a little bit. I ended my time at college with some very mixed feelings, but I was pretty positive about how my YouTube channel was going. Over the next 2 years, I have tried to replicate that success to mixed results. These types of videos take a lot out of me, surprisingly, although I still enjoy making them. But my more filmy side kept calling back to me, so in the past year I have sorta strayed away from my commentary stuff. Since last April, I've been working on a series called Monkey Talk, and while it hasn't gotten much attention, I quite enjoy making it. I have a lot of plans for more Monkey Talk as well as some artsy stuff, but I don't want you all to think that my commentary videos are gone. In reality, they're here to stay. I thought as a grand return to this kind of content, I should revisit the video that started it all, and looking back, while I'm still pretty proud of this video and enjoy it, there's plenty I would change now. First off, the audio. I don't think the quality of the audio itself is that bad, but man, I really needed to balance the volume better. To be honest, this is still a thing I struggle with, but I think nowadays I can do way better than this. The game audio was often too loud, and my voiceover by comparison was too quiet. There's some minor visual stuff I'm not fond of either, like blowing up game footage making them look too pixely, or not having a border around the footage. My me was pretty low res too. But my main issue with this video is simply how I covered some of these games. I was trying way too hard to be funny sometimes, and I think plenty of the jokes outstayed their welcome. And when it comes to critiquing the games, I was too harsh with a lot of the lower entries. I wanted to give each of these games a critical look, and while I still agree with most of what I said, I made a lot of the lower ranked games sound more bad or boring than they actually are. Not to mention, I made some egregious errors about some of those games. In fact, let's address those now. To begin, I made a pretty big mistake in calling all of these games Flash games. Adobe Flash was the hot thing back then, and while most web games in the 2000s did indeed use it, there was another program that was used too, and that was Adobe Shockwave. I knew about Shockwave when I made the video, but I mistakenly thought Flash and Shockwave were synonymous with each other. However, they are not, and plenty of Big Idea Fun's catalog actually used Shockwave instead of Flash. This is why I couldn't get certain games to run on the Wayback Machine, because to my knowledge, Ruffle does not support Shockwave. I apologize dearly for this, and from now on I will refer to these as web games instead of Flash games. Thanks for correcting me, Techie804, and now for correcting my mistakes with individual games. Starting with our corrections, let me apologize to the game that I perhaps screwed up the most, Shiplander. In my original review, I said it was impossible to land the ship, and I thought it was because I was hitting something in the background. It turns out that in reality, I completely misunderstood how to play the game. You're supposed to slowly land using the spacebar to stay afloat. Now that I realize that, Shiplander is way better and definitely not bad or broken. Thanks for the tip, 321 Blender, and sorry I got it wrong the first time. As for the Beakerbop games, I have no idea what was going through my head when I covered these last. Is Larry Boy slow? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but he's not that slow. And the potions? Just get good, they're not that hard to avoid. Honestly, I think my previous coverage of these games suffered from burnout. I wasn't taking many breaks, so I probably just got annoyed and gave up too easily. For crying out loud, if I had just seen the first Beakerbop to the end, I would have realized that that's where you get the password for the second one. I wish Beakerbop 3 could work as intended. It's still broken, but I don't hold that against it. On the whole, these games still aren't among my favorites, but they're good and I did them a huge disservice. My apologies, SDA Storyteller. I think I'm starting to see why you like the Beaker Bops. Here's a small but embarrassing one. Veggie eggs. In the last video, I expressed my disappointment that the trivia questions stayed the same every time. Turns out, I was completely wrong. There are indeed multiple questions for each character. I could have sworn I played the game multiple times and got the same questions, but what matters now is that I was incorrect. My ranking of this game probably wouldn't be too much higher, but this was still a massive error on my part. Thanks for the correction, Hambo. When I covered the Scramblo-matic, I mentioned that there was a hard mode of the game that never migrated over to Big Idea Fun. At the time, I couldn't get it to work on the Wayback Machine. Of course, I know now that's because I needed to run the Shockwave player. But regardless, after my video was released, a user named WePlay123 added the hard mode to Flashpoint. Thanks for that. I wouldn't say it's that much harder than the original, but this was still cool to finally play. Next up is Thumbles, one of our slide puzzles.
I'd like to solve the puzzle.
321 Blender gave me a second tip that pertained to this game. If you complete the puzzle yourself, an animation will play of the character. Here's Larry's. No, I'm not showing the other two. I hate slide puzzles, and you're not gonna make me. Speaking of puzzles though, I accidentally screwed up the name of the Esther Jigsaw game. It's Xerxes Jigsaw Juggle, not puzzle. I'm pretty sure I've misread that since I was a kid. And finally, Kirby1up let me know that you can indeed beat the Apollo Gordon Sweat and Sumo. Here's footage from somebody else because I'm bad at the game. Thanks for the footage. Super Mario? I didn't know he was a VeggieTales fan. That's all my corrections for now. There's actually one more, but we'll get to that one a bit later. I'm pretty bummed that I made these errors to begin with. I was excited about this video, and while I tried to be thorough, I think that in the end I still should have given this project more time. But enough about the past. What about this video? In the present? Well, in my first adventure through these VeggieTales web games, I decided to only cover the ones on BigIdeaFun.com. A lot of you wondered why, and the reason was simple. There are so many more games. Between the original version of BigIdea.com, LarryBoy.com, JonahMovie.com, VeggiePirates.com, and the various versions of VeggieTales.com, there were plenty more to discuss, and I thought it would have been a bit too much. But I always planned to make a follow-up video covering these, and now seems like as good of a time as ever to do it. So everything I could find, I will cover. This includes games from the sites previously mentioned, 2 games from Big Idea Fun that I didn't play last time, and even a few DVD-ROM exclusive games. I guess you could say those aren't technically web games since they weren't on the web, but if I called them computer games, I'd have to start counting other stuff that are way outside the scope of this project, so we're still calling them web games. Sorry. And of course, we're gonna rank them all. I know this prologue has gone on long enough, but before we properly begin, I gotta mention a few things about VeggieTales.com really quick. For starters, when the site first launched in 2011, most of Big Idea Fun's games did not carry over. But a few of them did, and there were some small changes made to them. Larry's lab has undergone a major visual overhaul. The art style of Larry and Bob now matches the main VeggieTales look, rather than the 2D Larry Boy style that the original was going for. It looks nice, but I do prefer the original's visuals better. I admit Bob looked a bit rough in that one, but it was charming, dang it. Jean-Claude's alphabet soup, has by comparison more minor visual differences. But an unfortunate change to this version is that all of the animations play super fast for some reason. It kinda makes the game worse as a result. And that's all I could actually play. An unfortunate thing about VeggieTales.com is that plenty of games did not get properly archived, and the Wayback Machine is not very helpful in loading games that it has no record of. So for old games, we're missing the revamped versions of Lyle's Breakout, The Eggspurts, Larry's Wild Water Ride, and Thumbles. Hopefully we'll find them someday, but I'm even more bummed about the site's brand new games that have also been lost to time. We are missing Bob's Brain Benders, Find the Penny, Larry's Bible Match, Laura's Blockbuster, McLarry's Stinky Cheese Toss, Petunia's Flip Flop, The Puzzler, Veggie Hoops, and Veggie Pult. If these get archived, please let me know. I fully intend on making another video on them if possible. A few more things before we begin. While combing through Flashpoint for this video, I discovered a game that I have not found any official listing for. Not on the Big Idea wiki, not on Big Idea Fun itself, not on any DVD-ROM from what I could tell, and that game was a Larry Boy the Cartoon Adventures slide puzzle. Yeah, it's another slide puzzle. And oddly enough, the puzzles available are concept art from Lego My Ego, the second episode of the 2D Larry Boy series. Since I couldn't find a listing anywhere, I at first thought maybe it was fan-made or something. But one of the tags does say it's officially licensed, and an animation plays when you complete each puzzle, so I'm not really sure. I decided to make this an honorable mention just in case, and if you're curious, I'd rank it just under Thumbles. I suffered through another agonizing slide puzzle for you guys, so be grateful. I also found a few supposed officially licensed games for VeggieTales in the house from some children's site in Romania. They use a lot of official art, but these games are so simplistic and off that I have serious doubts they're official. Just to be safe, I'm not ranking these, but if I did, they'd go straight to the bottom. Okay, that was a lot of preamble, but I promise we're starting the rankings now. No cute remarks, let's just begin. Roll film.
What do you mean I can't dance? I can dance!
Oh, you thought we weren't going to cover games from the hit Netflix original, VeggieTales in the House? Think again, buddy! This is Tunes Tap, which is our first and only rhythm game on the list. It's your typical music-based game, except for one tiny little problem. The button prompts don't match the beat of the music. I'm not kidding. This really just kills the game, because without a rhythm, all you're doing is just timing a series of key presses. And it doesn't even get that hard until the third level, which is the final level. There's really not much else I can say, this game is just sad. I swear, my bias against the Netflix stuff has nothing to do with the quality of Tunes Tap. It's just that bad. And dare I say, bottom of the list. Let's move on, shall we?
I'll have your heads.
Heads Up is interesting because it's one of the few games from an earlier version of BigIdea.com that never migrated over to Big Idea Fun. But after playing it, yeah, I can see why. It's pretty boring. The idea is that the player gets trivia questions about a certain character, and with each question, an image is shown that unveils a small part of who it is. After 3 questions, that character is fully revealed. Now, I'm not going to dunk on these questions too much. After all, this game is for young kids. However, I do think it's kinda dumb to have pictures of the characters here. A child who's even a little bit of a VeggieTales fan would know who they are, and if they aren't a fan, why are they playing this game in the first place? I think the most I got from this was how much older characters like Lenny and Rosie were promoted during this period. Good effort, but Veggie Eggs this ain't. Moving on.
Now go and get that duck!
Here we have another game that never made it to Big Idea Fun, Share a Ducky. Based on King George and the Ducky, it reminds me a bit of Frosted Cake, but in this one you customize a ducky, as well as a greeting, and email it to your friends. Of course, that feature doesn't work anymore, but messing with the ducky is still adorable. There's a few references to other VeggieTales characters too. Not a lot here, but I do think it's cute. Next game, please.
Toss 'em overboard!
Here we are at the first promotional website I'll be covering today, VeggiePirates.com. Websites for individual movies aren't as common these days, but back then they were everywhere. And with the Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, a VeggieTales movie coming out in 2008, Big Idea and Universal made sure to have a new site running just for the film. Interestingly, even though the other Big Idea sites shut down in 2011 when VeggieTales.com launched, this one remained up until 2020. If I had to guess why, I think it's because Universal ran the site rather than Big Idea themselves. Universal did not own VeggieTales at the time, but they did distribute the Pirates film, so I think they were the ones keeping the lights on here. VeggiePirates.com was pretty standard for promotional film sites in 2008, but there was certainly some personality to it, with plenty of behind-the-scenes stuff, and most importantly, it had games. So let's start with Jump Ship. In this game, the goal is to launch the pirates off of the plank into the rowboat. Because the boat moves back and forth, you need to time your jumps by holding the spacebar for a certain period of time to make it in. After clearing 6 stages, you can download a wallpaper and a buddy icon? Now who remembers those things? Anyway, the problem with this game is that it's too easy. There's no time limit, so you could just wait for the rowboat to approach the ship, tap the spacebar, and the pirates will make it in every time. Heck, I didn't even notice any changes between stages. This was a pretty big disappointment for me, to be honest. Hopefully the other Pirates games are better.
I like trains.
You know, I don't think the 2011 version of VeggieTales.com gets the praise it deserves. Don't get me wrong, I was pretty bummed back then when it replaced Big Idea Fun, but the site had a lot of personality and there were tons of things to do. I still paid a visit from time to time and had plenty of fun. It doesn't mean the same to me as Big Idea Fun did, but compared to the current VeggieTales.com, this was pretty sweet. And here we have our first game from this incarnation of the site. In Fill a Train, you fill a train. Basically, you just gotta make sure each train car has the exact items that are asked for. It's kind of fun seeing how fast you can get the items in, but really, there's not much here. Of course, I must remember that this game was intended for younger kids, but even still, this game's not getting a choo-choo from me. Moving on.
Oh, that's what I get for ranking with peas!
Why is it always the P games that rank near the bottom? Strange. Anyway, Pea Dash is interesting because it's the only game from the Jonah DVD-ROM to not be featured on JonahMovie.com. I didn't even know of its existence until I started recording for this video. But after playing it, I don't think I missed out on much. This game just does not hit for me. The goal is to direct each pea in a level to the van before its fuel runs out, but you can only enter from the top or bottom of the van for some reason. And you gotta click these corners to get them to move? I get that you're supposed to line everything up, but in practice I find it more annoying than anything. Like with the egg spurts, it's very possible that I just suck at the game, so I don't want to be too harsh on it, but even though I think Pea Dash has a good idea here, I just didn't really enjoy it.
Memories, my memories.
This game is called Me Artichoke Hearties. Yeah, I don't get the name either. It's memory. It's fine. Oh no, we're not doing this again, are we? To be fair, this one does do something kinda neat. When you beat the game, a clip plays from the movie, so that's something I guess. Yeah, let's just move on.
Memories, my memories.
This game is called Patch Match. It's memory. It's fine. The memory games have started a comeback! No! It seems not even VeggieTales in the house could resist a memory game. To its credit though, it at least offers multiple difficulty modes, and some levels have several pairs of the same character in different poses, adding to the challenge. Not bad, Patch Match. It's still memory though, and it is still, as you all guessed, fine. That's all for VeggieTales in the house games. I couldn't really figure out if there were more that may have been lost, so let me know if any more exist.
Memories, my memories.
This game is called Midgel's Memory Mix-Up. It's memory. It's fine. Memory. Buddy, I know I've been hard on you, but you really gotta stop. You have a problem. Or perhaps, maybe I'm the one with the problem. Nah. Anyway, as you can see, we do indeed have one more 3-2-1 Penguins game left to cover. Does this mean my video title is incorrect? Yes, but I'm not changing it over one measly game, much less a memory game. In a similar situation to Pea Dash, this game was a DVD-ROM extra included with the Penguins episode, Runaway Pride at Light Station Kilowatt. And you know what? This may be the best of Big Idea's memory games. Musical Match and Silly Song Matching Machine do come close due to their unique music matching gimmick, but what I like about Midgel's Memory Mix-Up is what it does to be more challenging. For starters, there are 3 levels and each one adds more characters to match, but it also includes a time limit. This actually adds some difficulty to the game, and I even lost once. Not bad, I gotta say. I know this running joke makes it sound like I don't like memory, but that's not really true. I just think Big Idea made way too many of them, but I gotta give this one credit for trying to be a bit different. Bonsai indeed, Midgel. Bonsai indeed.
Message for you, son!
One thing that I've really been looking forward to in this video is gushing about the awesomeness that was LarryBoy.com. When I watched Larry Boy and the Rumor Weed on VHS as a young kid, I always remembered this quick promo at the beginning of the tape advertising the website, and I thought it looked really cool. A few years later, when I was old enough to use our old Dell computer that ran on Windows 2000, I decided to go to the website myself and, yeah, it was really cool. The site was made to promote Rumor Weed, and it was clearly part of Big Idea's initiative to use the episode as practice for making a theatrical film. As I said earlier, every film used to have an interactive site back in the day, and Big Idea was clearly trying to prepare for that as well. But back to LarryBoy.com, there was a decent amount of stuff to do, and in this video we'll be talking about the 2 games featured on the site. We'll get to the really cool one in a bit, but for now let's discuss the lesser of the 2 games, the Larry-Decoder. In at least some VHS prints of Rumor Weed, there was an ad for the game that included a super secret message for consumers to decode. I never saw this ad, so when I tried to do this as a kid, I was stuck. Luckily, you could give Big Idea your email address and they would email you the code, which was nice of them. Unluckily for me, I never got an email from them, so I imagine they stopped providing the code a few years in. But since this ad has been archived, thanks Ian Tape, I was able to enter it in. When translated, the code reads, "To get a screensaver, click Larry Boy." And sure enough, you do get a screensaver. It's actually kinda sick. You could also use the Larry-Decoder to send messages to your friends and decode messages they sent to you. It doesn't work anymore, but that really was a fun use of email back in the day. Realistically, I don't think I can rank the Larry-Decoder much higher, especially since you can't send and receive messages anymore, but I do think it was a great addition to LarryBoy.com, and that's not really something you'd see on the web these days.
I'm the map!
Okay, so adding on to mistakes I made during the previous video, I never thought to just hover over the spinning plunger on the Bumblyburg Map game. I seriously thought it was just loading. Anyway, Bumblyburg Map is pretty neat. It's more so promotional material for the cartoon adventures of Larry Boy than an actual game, and unfortunately it only features locations and characters from the first 2 episodes. But what's here still cool? You can visit various locations within Bumblyburg and view some funny animations, which is always a good time. But honestly, I think the lore bits are the most fascinating part. Like, did you know that the Bumblyburg Community College offers courses on advanced chicken watching? Or that Electro Melon helps power the local hospital? And it looks like we have another founder of the city besides Zobadiah Bumbly. Again, I gotta keep Bumblyburg Map low in the rankings because it's not really a game, but I do respect how much there is to it and how much the people behind the 2D Larry Boy series really cared about what they were making. It's an enthralling part of Big Idea's history for sure.
Scram! Go away!
Oh, you thought we were done with interactable point-and-click Larry Boy stuff? Well, you're completely wrong, because in the DVD-ROM of the episode Lego My Ego, we have the Larry Cave Exploration game, and I think it's kinda cool. As the name implies, you can explore the Larry Cave and all of its gadgets and gizmos. There's a small minigame you can play where you need to help the residents of Bumblyburg find their missing items, and then there's this garage door that really doesn't want to open for you. No entry. Keep out. Go away. Stay back. Stop. Desist. Quit it. I am warning you. Okay. I've had enough. No, no, no. Never. Out of order. Out to lunch. Closed. Locked. No admittance. Scram. Such a stubborn thing, I tell ya. But my favorite part is looking through all these super suits that Larry Boy has. It's a shame they never got to be in the series proper. But yeah, this game is a rad little distraction. If I played this as a kid, I would have spent way too much time in it.
It's a rescue!
I can't believe the Flash game for Sweetpea Beauty looks better than the actual episode's animation. Wait, scratch that. I totally believe it. Rescue Sweetpea is a cute little platforming game where you take Larry up the tower to save Sweetpea from that creepy mirror guy. Dodge obstacles, bounce on the dwarf peas, and really that's all there is to it. Only 3 stages and not particularly difficult, but it's functional. Unlike the actual episode.
Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy!
To be honest, I don't really know what to think of Veggie Bounce. I like the idea at least. You're supposed to use the spatula to bounce the veggies onto the other side. It should be a fun challenge trying to keep everything in the air and all that. So what's the problem? Well, I'm pretty sure this game is rigged. Call it a skill issue if you must, but I spent a lot of time playing Veggie Bounce for this video, and I only made it to level 2 a handful of times. Things usually go well for me until Jimmy here comes in. I'm 90% sure he bounces lower than the others. Or maybe he's slower? Anyway, it seems like sometimes you just get to the point where it's impossible to keep every veggie from falling out one time. And from the few videos I could find of other people playing it, it looks like I'm not alone on this. Spoilers, there's a similar game coming up in a bit, and while I also found it to be pretty challenging, it actually felt possible. I'm not ready to write this one off as broken necessarily, but I think there's something off here. I'm ranking the game in this spot in good faith that it's not actually broken, but I have my doubts. Everyone do me a favor and play this one yourself, then let me know if you're experiencing the same trouble that I'm having.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
I think I found the American football game that can rival Madden. May I present to you, Veggie Football. Based on It's a Meaningful Life, you control Larry as you single-handedly carry your team by making it to the end zone. Wait, where is the rest of the team anyway? Seems kinda unbalanced. Well, no matter. Each level gets harder and harder as you dodge the rival team, picking up sports drinks to increase your speed. It can be a bit tough to outsmart these knuckleheads, but that's all part of the fun. Ooh, I'm having such a great time! Wait, the game's over? Yeah, unfortunately there's only 4 levels. I get it, football only has 4 quarters and each level's supposed to represent that, but man, I was having such a good time! Ah well, it's still a fun game. Definitely an underrated part of VeggieTales.com's library. When I released my video on Big Idea Fun, a few of you asked me why I didn't cover the games from Jonah on the site. The simple answer is that these games were not on Big Idea Fun. You see, clicking on the Jonah icon would take you to a different website, jonahmovie.com, a promotional site for the film. Yep, we have arrived at another promotional website. This site had both an HTML and Flash version, and thankfully they're both preserved on the Wayback Machine. It's a cool part of Veggie history, but yeah, between BigIdea.com, BigIdeaFun.com, LarryBoy.com, JonahMovie.com, and VeggiePirates.com, I can see why Big Idea later shut these down and mostly redirected to one site in VeggieTales.com. But enough about that. Let's check out the first game from JonahMovie.com, Thrills and Quills.
Porcupine! Porcupine! Porcupine!
Oh no. This one's bad. Is what I would have said if I didn't give this game another chance. Let me explain how this game works first. The goal of the game is to avoid the porcupines and get to Twippo's concert. Your time and score is calculated, and it's clearly designed to be a game that you play again and again to get better results. There's even a map to show you the path and shortcuts to shave off some of your time. At first I found this game to be very annoying. The potholes and logs seemed nearly impossible to dodge at faster speeds. The porcupine's quills were hard to dodge at this speed too, which was a problem because if your tires blow 3 times, it's game over. Honking scares them away, so after a while I just kept spamming the horn, which worked sometimes, but each time you honk the horn your headlights get worse. Not only that, but sometimes the porcupines spawn back to their original position after they already started running, which is frustrating. And yes, Bob's constant screaming of "Porcupine!" really soured me on it. I was gonna write it off as bad, but I couldn't stop thinking about how terribly I botched my reviews of games like Shiplander and Beaker Bop, so I kept playing Thrills and Quills to see if I was just misunderstanding something. In the end, I found that dodging obstacles wasn't nearly as impossible as I thought it was. It just takes practice, really, which is what games like this should be like. With that said, I do think the occasional glitched porcupines do drag it down a little for me. Since this game is about reaction time, I think this is just a bit unfair to the player. But overall, it is a fun time, and I'm glad I gave it another chance. I'd say play it for yourself and see what you think about it. Number 9. The Whipcrack Islands is just some nice fun. You control the pirate ship as you go through the titular Whipcrack Islands, dodging the islands themselves and cannonballs along the way. Getting hit damages your ship, but collecting power-ups refills the health gauge, so you're never in too much danger. In fact, that is a downside. This game is pretty easy across the board. I barely got hit, and anytime I did, I just collected one of the plentiful power-ups, which filled my health back to full. But that really isn't a big deal. I thought this one was fun, and while nothing amazing, I'm glad I played it. Even if the games on VeggiePirates.com weren't particularly that great, I'd say the Whipcrack Islands was just good enough to make things worth it.
Does anyone know where the bathroom is?
Dude, you're surrounded by water. The whole ocean's your bathroom. I'm kidding, please don't do that. Number 8. Wow, a good Pea game? Impossible. In Tilt-A-Pea, you, Tilt-A-Pea through a series of mazes to get to the goal. It's as simple as it sounds, just get to the target and avoid the slushy puddles. Your mouse tilts the maze, and it feels pretty intuitive, believe it or not. There's only 3 levels, and the game's a bit laggy at points, but I don't know. I found this one to be a good time. It can't beat Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, though. Seriously, that game rocks. I did not think Fish Dodge was going to be as annoying as it ended up being. But given I just said that, you may be wondering why it's ranked as high as it is. I'll explain how the game plays first. As Jonah, you gotta navigate Nineveh to reach the town square. You can score extra points along the way by collecting some of the pirates' items, and grabbing a scroll nets you an extra life. Reginald the Camel can also be found to move faster for a short period of time. Sounds fun, right? What's exactly the problem? Well, you tell me what's worse. The grating noise of Jonah's constant hopping? Or the Ninevites themselves. They constantly throw fishes at Jonah, which would be fine except screen crunch makes it pretty difficult to anticipate when they'll show up. And since the life count maxes at 5, getting through these levels sometimes feels like it comes down to luck. With all that said, however, yeah, I still like this game a lot. It's only 4 levels long, and if nothing else, I felt motivated to keep trying. Call it a guilty pleasure, perhaps. Number 6. We may have gone over all the games that were on VeggiePirates.com, but there was actually one more Pirates game on Yahoo Kids. Wow, that name takes me back. And get this, it's better than the games on the actual Pirates website. Go figure. In Sedgewick's Treasure Dig, you control Sedgewick, played by Mr. Lunt, as he digs in the ground to grab treasure. You gotta grab all the treasure in each stage within the time limit and avoid the cheese curl monsters. Some stages include boulders, which can defeat the cheese curls, but can also block access to treasure or hurt Sedgewick, so you need to be careful with them. The game features 4 difficulty modes, and while I found easy mode to be, well, easy, expert mode was a great challenge that required a lot of planning, which I appreciated. So yeah, this is fun. Sedgewick may move a bit too slow for my liking, but besides that, it's a great maze-type game. It's no Dig Dug, but compared to the other Pirates games, I'll take what I can get. Number 5. The mission was the reason to go to LarryBoy.com back in the day. As a kid, I thought this was the coolest game on the web. One evening, Larry finds a note from Alfred, seemingly calling him for help. Our heroic Cuke makes no hesitation in suiting up as Larry Boy and coming to his butler's aid, fighting many fibs and rumor weeds along the way. Each level features both an easy and hard mode. Level 1 sees Larry Boy driving the Larrymobile through town, dodging cars, fibs, and weeds along the road. You can shoot the fibs and weeds with plungers, but that's mostly just for if you're in a pinch. The hard version just adds more of each obstacle to dodge. Level 2 features the Larry plane and becomes a proper shooter, where you fight a bunch of sprouting weeds and flying fibs. The hard version is actually a decent challenge, where fibs can come at you from both sides, which makes the boss fight with a giant rumor weed a bit intense. And the final level has the player control Larry Boy directly, where he hops from building to building. Fibs and weeds are only present in the hard version of the stage, and they're pretty annoying to be honest. But once that's over, Larry Boy finally catches up with Alfred. But apparently he didn't need help, he needed kelp. Silly Alfred and his handwriting. Yeah, the mission's still pretty cool. It's not the most amazing thing ever, but for what it is, it's a decent Larry Boy adventure. I'd say level 2 was my favorite, especially the hard version, while level 3 was kinda lame. I don't know, it's just awkward to control and takes an eternity to end. But overall, it's definitely on the higher ranking side of these Larry Boy games, and that's good enough for me. Thanks for all the memories, LarryBoy.com. You were pretty cool. Oh wait, before I forget, when the site was revamped in 2002 to promote the cartoon adventures, the homepage teased that the mission was going to get a facelift to match the style of the new series. It's a shame that never happened. Really makes you wonder how different things would be if 2D Larry Boy had been more successful. Number 4. Hey look, it's the playable version of Veggie Bounce. This is Cargo Bounce. In this one, you control Pirate Larry and use his boat to bounce various items into the pirate ship. All you use is the mouse and it feels great. Sometimes items will drop that can change the speed of the items or the size of the boat, but otherwise it's a pure juggling act. Easy mode starts off very manageable as you can imagine, but by the end of its 5 stages it really kept me on my toes. And hard mode just ups the ante from the beginning. I knew there was something to Veggie Bounce, and yeah, it turns out they got this type of game right years earlier. I had fun with this one. Well, it looks like VeggieTales tried Tetris again. Veggie Drop is indeed a Tetris clone, just like another game we've covered previously, Veggie Pile Up. It plays well, as you'd expect, but I'm kinda conflicted on how I feel about this one compared to Pile Up. On one hand, Veggie Drop's blocks are actually shaped like tetrominoes, which makes it easier to tell how they're gonna fit. But on the other hand, man, Veggie Pile Up's presentation was just way more charming. I think Pile Up is probably still the better Tetris clone, but Veggie Drop is still good. If only I was actually good at Tetris. Wait a minute, I have an idea. Okay, so I have my friend Braden here with me. And Braden is like the most awesomest Tetris player ever. So he's gonna play the VeggieTales Tetris games, and we'll see how we do. Are you feeling it, Braden?
Yup. I'm gonna hit a world record.
Alright, this is Veggie Pile Up. This is the... Veggie Pile Up's the first one. It's a little laggy at the beginning when all the veggies hop around, I think. If you want to know how to hard drop, that's the space button. And then up flips the shapes.
Oh boy, okay, I see. Wow, riveting.
I know. It's beautiful. Yeah, one thing I don't know how I feel about it is that the shapes are like the VeggieTales characters, which is kind of cute, but it's also like makes it kind of hard sometimes to know if they're actually going to fit, right?
Yeah.
Like they have the outlines around them, but...
Yeah, this is really laggy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's my PC, because I feel like when I played this game in the past, it wasn't so laggy.
We're going to hit a record. And so far, we're not doing too well.
Haven't cleared any lines.
No, I'm trying to build it up.
Yeah, Larry is your...
line piece.
Yeah, but I feel like when I was playing this earlier, they just kept not giving me the piece.
Alright, Larry. I'm gonna fit in here. Rotate. There we go. I see Bob's the O.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gaming.
Oh, we're gaming, alright. Yeah, there's lag again.
Yeah, this is a fever dream.
You know somebody got into Tetris playing this. They're like, oh man, I love Tetris, but you know, it all started with Veggie Pile Up.
That's the OG. Yeah, see, like, I can't tell if that's flush or not. That's, yeah. This might be the hardest version of Tetris there is.
Don't you think that's kind of like something to celebrate then? It's like, this is the hardest version of Tetris you'll ever play.
No, this is what they should make the tournaments based off of. I don't think Larry is 4 pieces long.
Oh, he's only 3?
I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, see how many, like... Yeah, I think he's 3 P's high.
So I guess you can't get Tetrises in this.
That's interesting.
You can only get triples.
Veggie Drop, which you can put in full screen for this one, I think.
Let's go.
It looks like there's no hard drop? I mean, you can test it.
This one's already kind of... Yeah, no, there's not. This one's already kind of fast.
It's a lot faster for sure. But yeah, see what I'm saying? Like, they put the characters on the tetrominoes, but they're just not as interesting to look at. But I guess in some ways that's still better because you can properly tell.
I definitely prefer this.
Speaking of other games that have been named Tetris, do you,
It's only level 4?
Wow.
Bruh.
Alright, well, as Braden has clearly demonstrated by his reactions, these are the 2 best Tetris games in existence.
Yes.
When I made the BigIdeaFun.com video 2 years ago, I was pretty bummed that I couldn't play every game that the site had to offer. We had almost everything covered, but there were 2 games I wasn't able to play at the time. The first was the aforementioned Bumblyburg Map, which I didn't get to play only because I didn't think to hover over the spinning plunger. But the other one was Lyle's Breakout, based on the classic episode, Lyle the Kindly Viking. For some reason, it was the only game on Big Idea Fun to not be properly archived, and as a result, I had to skip it. But I told myself that if I ever made a follow-up video covering more VeggieTales web games, I had to make sure I could play Lyle's Breakout. And luckily for me, last year someone by the username of Ravenclaw Nimbus uploaded it to the Internet Archive. Unfortunately, it is not the easiest game to get running. The person who uploaded it provided instructions on how they were able to make it work, but it didn't play on my end. After hours of failing, I decided to try a different solution that they also suggested. What's that, you ask? Simple. I downloaded Oracle VirtualBox, emulated a version of Windows XP on it, installed an old version of Firefox in Java, and ran Lyle's Breakout on this virtual machine. And to my absolute delight, it worked! Ravenclaw Nimbus, thank you so much for getting this game to run. I am very grateful that you did. With that said, for everyone at home, I'd only recommend doing this if you really want to play Lyle's Breakout for yourself, because in my experience, it was kind of a headache to figure out. Onto the actual game, yeah, it's a Breakout clone alright. Lyle's ship takes the place of the paddle, and potholders are the power-ups. It's a cute way to tie parts of the episode into the game, and that's all I really have to say. I must state once more, I'm very glad Lyle's Breakout can be played again, but as far as VeggieTales Breakout clones go, there's another one that I think is a bit better. Speaking of which... Ooh, Captain Ahab's Moby Blaster! My favorite! When I was a kid, visiting the Jonah site and discovering that Moby Blaster was playable on it was one of the coolest things ever. So what's it like, you ask? Yeah, it's just Breakout again. But it does have a lot of cool things about it that make the game better than Lyle's Breakout. For one, it's actually easy to get working in the modern day, so that's already a plus. But it's also got an easy mode and hard mode, with a whopping 50 levels in each. Some of the levels themselves even make images based on the movie. Combine that with a wider variety of blocks and it already crushes Lyle's Breakout. But the deciding factor for me is easily the level editor. You get access to all the blocks and can decide if they move or have power-ups in them. I like spamming the Khalil blocks myself. Even though it's a shame you can't share custom levels with friends anymore, I still think it's a worthwhile addition. So yeah, Moby Blaster rules. This is my favorite of the games I talked about today, and I can easily see why this is Percy's favorite game. Still don't get his obsession with the Bald Bunny song though. And that's the ranking of all the games I could find. Hopefully in the future we'll find the rest of them, but for now I thought it would be cool to rank all 72 games that we do have. Some games share a slot, and some from my Big Idea Fun video have moved up now that I've gotten a more positive opinion on them. So here we go. 69. Toons Tap. 68. Pea Paint. 67. Heads Up. 66. Frosticake. 65. Share a Ducky. 64. King George's Squirting Gallery. 63. Jumpy Jr. 62. The Dinkletown Christmas Parade. 61. Queasy Rider. 60. Jump Ship. 59. Fill a Train. 58. Veggie Eggs. 57. Pea Dash. 56. All You Can Eat. 55. The Scramble-O-Matic. 54. Slide Puzzles. 53. The Into Silliness Slide Puzzle. 52. Thumbles. 51. Xerxes Jigsaw Juggle. 50. Here We Go Scuba. 49. Me Artichoke Hearties. 48. Junior's Memory Game. 47. King George Character Match. 46. Patch Match. 45. Musical Memory Match. 44. Silly Song Matching Machine. 43. Midgel's Memory Mix-Up. 42. The Larry-Decoder. 41. The Eggspurts. 40. Veggie Playground. 39. Dinkle Dinkle Little Star. 38. Bumblyburg Map. 37. Larry Cave Exploration. 36. Flight over Bumblyburg. 35. Build a Better Bunny. 34. Rescue Sweetpea. 33. Veggie Bounce, if it's not actually broken. 32. Omelet's Quest. 31. Madame Blueberry's Thanksgiving Party. 30. Veggie Football. 29. Thrills and Quills. 28. The Whipcrack Islands. 27. Tilt-A-Pea. 26. Shiplander. 25. Jelly Jammers. 24. Fish Dodge. 23. Josh and the Big Wall. 22. Sedgewick's Treasure Dig. 21. The Mission. 20. Sweatin' Sumo. 19. The Mess at the Press. 18. Showtime Chauffeurs. 17. Space Corn. 16. Junior's Own Adventure. 15. The Beaker Bop games. I've kept these together mainly because Beaker Bop 3 doesn't work properly anymore, and it would be unfair to rank it lower when I don't have a good grasp on what it was like when it, worked. 14. Spaced Penguin and Doom Funnel Chasers. I'm still not sure which one I like better. 13. Donut Hockey.
12. Duke and the Great Pie War.
11. Hop.
10. Jean-Claude's Alphabet Soup.
9. Light Brigade. 8. Cargo Bounce. 7. Larry's Wild Water Ride. 6. Veggie Drop. 5. Veggie Pile Up. 4. Jerry's Cheeseburger Madness. 3. Lyle's Breakout. 2. Moby Blaster. And 1. Larry's Lab. Phew, that was a lot. I hope the video didn't come across as too disorganized, because that's just how I roll sometimes. Who knows if the other VeggieTales web games will be recovered, but regardless, my videos on Veggie games are far from over. We still have various PC games, a PS2 game, a Game Boy Advance game, and other stuff. And whether I'm talking about VeggieTales or something else, I hope you all will continue to tune in.
Your support means a lot.
And maybe give Monkey Talk a chance. Or not, that's up to you. But until next time, remember that God made you special, He loves you very much, and LarryBoy.com is still rad as heck. Oh crap, I almost forgot! Have you heard of Larry Boy's Tic-Tac-Toe? No? Well, me neither until I did research for this video. It seems to have only been available on BigIdea.com's very first incarnation in 1998. Clicking on the link here redirects me to a page not found message in 2000, and I have not seen it anywhere else. The only other thing I could find about it was this screenshot from an issue of the What's the Big Idea magazine.
I'm kinda petty that I couldn't play this one, and I'm sure this would be hard to find.
But if there's any community that I can count on to recover lost media, it's the VeggieTales fandom. Happy searching! Okay, now I'm done.